Gentlemen, welcome back to Dungeons and Dragons this week. Last session, we interrogating the Inquisitor more information, this one with the poisoned arm, to which he told you the backstory of the ancient white dragon Arctothorn after some enchantment magic. Also some of his innate abilities. We also learned that in Dawnport there is a bell tower that is constantly manned, which can be used to summon the dragon if needed. From here, you headed back to the Admiral, who rewarded you for your efforts and gave you a few pieces of information, as well as a fine meal to end your busy day. The next morning, you returned to him to find he did not successfully get you the hired help you sought after, but instead was willing for Ponsky to go with you, as Ponsky was in fact a werewolf.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Georgie.
Ponsky does indeed have control over his powers, except for under the full moon, and has been hunted by many monster hunters and acolytes of the goddess Freya over the many years his family has been around. It seems he's also spent some time in the Silverhold after being briefly captured, and so may be able to help you get in and around the Silverhold. And he also said as a side note, he also said he's done lots of research on it, so any history you might be concerned with or anything like that, he might know a little bit about that. With Ponsky, you left for a magic shop, where you picked up a few interesting items, and finally you cast off towards Dawnport, hoping to save it from its frozen fate and learn more about Rashak in the process. That night, Oramis dreamed he was approached by Hallohan, who told him the Cursed Council, his new warlock patrons, were concerned as to his loyalty to the ship, and so they placed a choice before him. Hallohan was to be hanged from a mysterious gallows that appeared upon his deck within the dream, or Gylndan was. Oramis chose Hallohan to hang, and with a mighty crash of a tidal wave, he awoke, unable to use his warlock powers. As a second of 3 days drove on a powerful storm, kicked up around you, the storm racked the ship, causing some damage and the loss of one of your crew members. However, the storm was short-lived, and Felix used the power of the Archdruid staff to control the weather and return the seas to calm waters. Later in the day, you found the ship suddenly stopped in the water as unnatural waves pushed up against the front. Appearing from the whirlpool spouts rising from the water were two half-Piscine individuals, very large, dressed in fine silks and jewels, floating above the ship deck. They told you were trespassing and upon their territory, and that as punishment for such behavior, you had two options: face their wrath or play a game. And this is where we pick up the session. Now, as they say this information, and one of them, so if you remember, one of them was one who spoke a lot more. He seemed a little stronger, seemed a little more charismatic and mighty. The other one spoke in a little more of a creepy accent in a creepy way, and almost was like his brother's hype man. They both sort of stand awaiting any response from you briefly. Is there anything you guys would briefly like to do?
What game, sir?
Well, first introductions. My name is Lord Nautalon Piscina, and this is my brother, Lord Nautaline Piscila.
His brother bows extraordinarily deeply, even like on this water spout which he's hovering from, like lowers physically.
You may all bow in our presence.
To his brother just goes,
Yes, bow, yes.
The crew,
What
very
were their
awkward
names?
around you. Nautalon Piscina and Nautaline Piscina.
Sorry, is that
Nautalon Piscina
Nautalon Piscina?
and Nautaline
Both
Piscina.
lords.
Yes, both lords. The crew about you are confused, and they sort of look to you, Oramis, as to what they do. Half of them sort of bow out of fear, because these beings are literally causing waves to stop a massive frigate. Others are just sort of doing like a weird curtsy, like they're not quite sure what to do. They do wait for sort of enough of you to bow. So in this moment, what would you... you were going to say
Definitely
something?
not bowing I was going to say, these look like anything might have come across in a book or something like that, or...
Yeah, you can make a Arcana or Nature. I'll say either or would probably work.
Oh, starters, you mean to go on?
Fantastic. Yeah. So you recognize these creatures, the fine robes, the swirling water, their large forms as well. These guys, if they were to stand, they don't seem to have feet. Their feet are sort of enveloped by this whirlpool. But if they were to stand, they might stand at about sort of, 10, 12 feet tall. These look like powerful individuals.
Oh.
They're they're not spindly, but they're also they're not like musculature built. They both have quite like rotund stomachs, and their arms are small by comparison. But looking at them, there is muscle there, and you can sense an almost arcane strength. And you're thinking like these creatures just come out of the water. They have such control over water. Elementals married, and you get the innate sort of thing in your mind of these creatures called the married. They are genies, essentially water genies. Not, you also know, just as clarification, not all genies grant wishes and things like that. Only sort of higher genies do, but they are lordly in their own right. And they generally come from the elemental plane of water, so what they're doing here is really anyone's guess. The two sort of wait for enough people about you to bow, which, as I said, many of them do. I said, "We have sadly been banished to this plane by superiors with different ideals of our own." The brother laughs wickedly. "It seems this plane is to be our home for a few measly 100 years. So we thought we would make the most of it and claim ourselves this nice little piece of ocean. However, we grow increasingly bored." Oh, for fuck's sake. Why? "Your ships are easy to destroy. Hardly anyone of skill on them. And we find nothing here to entertain us. But this is where you may come in. As part of this game, you must offer a sum of gold or an interesting item if you wish. We do not want petty change or useless knickknacks. No, we want something worth our time, something interesting, something special. You will place the items in here." And the Nautilon spins his hand, and appearing upon the deck of the ship, all the crew have to like part and move out of the way. This whirlwind of water, and suddenly just like clanks on the ship a large chest filled with what you gather from a quick glance, at least a couple of thousand gold pieces, and a few interesting sort of items on the top. Maybe there's a you can see like a large cloak over it. You can see a whip, a couple of other things just sort of hanging around just sort of on top and inside these pieces. "Then we'll play our game, and if we win, we take your items. You must turn around and make your way around our new domain. Or we can simply kill you, if that's easier. But if you win, you may pass through our domain with your items and keep the chest too. Might as well. This world's items are of little importance to us. And good entertainment where we are from is worth more money or jewels than anyone can buy."
Can you run us through the game, please?
Have you ever heard of flighting, young sir?
Flighting?
Flighting.
Have I ever heard of flighting?
Let's roll a intelligence check, I guess.
Straight intelligence.
Yeah.
Based on the glance in the chest when they opened it, is there anything that we might recognise of particular value in there?
Make a perception check.
Perception.
Well, yeah. Other than the obviously like a few thousand pieces of gold, maybe a couple of gems on the top. There's well, a couple of interesting things just poking out. You can see a let's see. You can see a cloak which seems very, very fancy. It's this dark cloak with elven inscription just sort of along the back with a sort of peaked hood. You can see this very pristine whip, which amongst everything else in here seems interesting for this to be here. So maybe it has some magical properties. This beautiful brass watch, which is clearly of some kind of gnomish make, and as it just sits there, you can see all the gears sort of switching and turning within. And also a book in a leather-bound case, sort of arcane sigils over the sides, things like that, and otherwise just lots and lots of gold.
4 main items of interest.
4 sort of main items of interest.
Yeah, do I know what fighting is with the
So,
22
yes,
dungeons?
you will have heard of things of flighting. It's generally played in bardic colleges in some places. It's essentially like the best way I can describe it is it's a sort of medieval rap battle where one person will give a call and you have to respond. So they will say they will give a call which will have a certain rhythm and rhyme, and then you will give a response which must match their rhythm and rhyme, and it's basically a challenge in that sort of sense.
Actually really up for this.
Yeah.
It's called flighting.
Flighting, yes.
Okay.
As they see the recognition in Gylndan's face, but lacking in some others, Nautilon says,
It is a contest of words, you see. Wit and wisdom. A game we played often in our Hall of Pearls, a favorite for our masters and our underlings alike. Why don't we give you an example, hey brother?
the brother glimfully glees.
He says, Brother, your face is a wreck. It brings me such remorse.
To which the brother replies,
But yours brings to mind the face of a horse.
and both of them laugh and giggle.
That's a good one, to be fair. Sick burn, bro.
He says,
You're pig-headed, brother. Ugly, and you drive me insane.
to which his brother replies,
But to look upon you brings my eyes such pain. You're foolish and stupid, and oh so boring. No, it is you, brother, who will have the crowd snoring.
and they just both erupt into this maniacal cackle above the crew. And the crew, if you were to look at them all at this point, sort of has a look of, are these guys genuinely fucking serious? Either we die or we do some rapping? Okay, and they just sort of like, as you guys are, I mean, you have, you know, people as silver-tongued as Oramis and clever as the two wizards and, well, Mazzy. They sort of look to you guys and go, well, take it away, and a lot of them sort of like back out of the way for you. So Nautilon sort of looks at you and says,
So, gentlemen, what will it be? Will we be entertained, or will this be boring and violent?
We can certainly have a go. I think if we participate, that should automatically waive us from death, and the only thing that should be lost is the wager on each side. We are partaking after all.
make a persuasion check.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Good, persuasive.
Not bad, not bad. Take a straight 16.
Not bad. Let me.
I mean, that's what I get on a nat 1, mate. So,
Oh, fuck you. I'd like to see you pass any sort of intelligence save.
He sort of.
I think he's got
he sort of
proficiency
looks
as a
at you and
rogue.
goes.
Bollocks.
He sort of looks at you and you can see Nautilon compared to his brother. His brother is a fairly sort of plain-faced individual, but one thing that sort of matches them apart is he has these tendrils that almost look like a sort of like beard and mustache. It's not, like how like a catfish has those like whiskers almost. He has sort of those, and he sort of like strokes those down his long face. And
If you lose but put up good sport, we will not kill you.
Okay. Oramis, put your ship up.
Hell no.
So, gentlemen, an item, please, or items, if multiple of you are competing.
What do we have that's any? Can we just have one
I've
to
got-
discuss? If you give us.
Oh,
a minute,
yes,
yeah.
yes, of course.
Thank you.
have-
Well, Oramis is
Ornate
apparently
dagger.
fucking loaded.
Luke's got an actual knife.
yeah, I will say, to you guys, you definitely think at least like if you're going to put in just like straight gold, you need to put in at least a couple of 100 gold pieces. But they do seem to be interested in interesting and special items.
I've got that singing dagger thing. Not singing
what?
dagger. I've got that dagger I took off that.
Mocking blade.
Yeah, that's it.
That's pretty interesting to be fair.
The sick burn blade.
I have one thing I could put up as my tankard of sobriety. I also have a memory box which I got given. I haven't used it. Do you remember what that was, Ben? This is a long time ago. We're talking years.
Yes, it was a memory box that you were given by what's his fucking name?
Rast.
Archmage Rast. Yeah,
Or
he gave
the
it.
other guy.
AKA that guy.
And basically, what it does is, if you touch it for at least a minute, you can play in the memory box any memory in your mind. So it creates an illusion of it within the memory box. A perfect illusion, as long as you.
That sounds pretty
of
useful.
anything in your
Might be
life.
helpful at some point. Is that a thing of value, do you think?
You could offer it up to them, see what they say.
What have you two got?
I mean, I've either got that dagger I can put up, or I have a fang of Lolth.
A what?
The fang of a now deceased god.
Oh, that's pretty
Remember
valuable,
Lolth when
surely.
we fought
Yeah.
her? I ripped off her fang.
Tongue or tooth?
I don't really want to put that up in case I lose it. Fang, like
Fang, okay.
tooth. She was a spider at that point.
Hmm.
She was her true form, creepy.
That's probably of some value. Okay, I'm guessing it's going to be one thing from each of us.
That yeah, something along that line.
Okay. I'll put up my tankard of sobriety. Got Fang of Lolth, tankard of sobriety, and then what have you got, Felix?
Didn't you already sell your tankard of sobriety?
I didn't sell it in the end.
I see.
I'm pretty sure I didn't sell it in the end. I wasn't happy with how much you offered me.
I see.
I thought it was worth millions.
I've got either the Book of Healing Prayer or these Gauntlets of Ogre Power.
Say again, sorry?
I've got a Book of Healing Prayer or Gauntlets of Ogre Power.
What do you feel comfortable putting up?
I've had the Gauntlets long.
I will say, if we lose, could just kill him.
Yeah, that's plan B. Although, not that
Although
you guys
we are on our way
particularly
to
know
a
this.
conflict.
I'm not super dope, right now.
Yeah, Oramis is right now
We,
a level 7 rogue with just a lot more health.
Not that I've only got 99
great.
health. I feel like that's too low.
Rogues don't have loads of health.
I think that's pretty good for a rogue
Okay.
at level 11. No, 13.
What are you? You're rogue and warlock, aren't you?
Yeah.
Not super beefy.
That's why warlock's not great either, is it?
Warlock
both.
and rogue have the same hit dice.
Was it
Yeah,
a D8?
D8.
Man's been playing Galahad, and he's like, I just don't understand why my HP is not as good.
What do you mean a 14 hits?
Okay.
That's pathetic.
Oh, I missed it. Fucking impenetrable force and balance.
I don't.
Hey, I mean, to be fair,
Right,
in
okay.
this campaign,
Yeah.
all I was going to say is you just got to chuck Galahad over the edge of the boat, and that's him dealt with.
He's pretty dead.
To be fair, yeah, just chuck most of that group in water and they will just sink.
Yeah.
So.
Look, I remember when Doc dived for one of those. I think it was a paladin that went into the tower and killed, and it fell into the sea. And it fought us on a boat, and Doc dived in after it, and it was like, oh, I wonder why. Fucking hell, he's got armor on. What an idiot! And then it was like, oh, get him out. He's alive.
He's fine. So, what are
Just
you all?
add that to the list of many deaths, near deaths.
So, what are you guys offering up?
I think I'm going to
memory box. No, sorry, Tankard of Sobriety.
Book of Healing Prayer, or whatever it's called. Yeah.
Book of Healing
I've
Prayers.
also got, like, in terms of non-magical stuff, I've also got like a short bow, 2 hand axes, and a Sahuagin's longsword. But I don't think they're going to be that interested in any of that.
Sahuagin, fam.
Sahuagin. Oh, mate, maximum points to anyone who gets a rhyme with Sahuagin.
So what are you putting in,
Aubergine.
Aramis?
I'm gonna put up the dagger.
The new dagger you've just got.
Yeah,
Cool.
the humming, mucking, whatever, the dagger thing.
Blade. All right. So you place these items. Way, just being like, yeah, if shit starts kicking off, we want to be ready with things to stop leaks or anything like that. And you guys are stood now with your items in the box, and Nautilon sort of rubs his hands together. Then let's begin. With our wit and our cunning, you'll surely be slain.
Is there any orders to this? Do we not draw names out of a hat, or is it just come in when you feel like it?
They will give a call. You give a response. It's up to any of you guys to come up with a response. And what I'm going to do is, for each one, I'm going to set a minute timer.
Say that again.
Okay.
So,
repeat it.
minute timer. With our wit and our cunning, you will surely be slain.
I don't know about that because that rhyme was pretty lame.
That's such an Oramis line. using like 10 of the 20 words he's got in his vocabulary.
Bit wordy, but not bad. They say you humans are foolish and dull.
And your mother has a face
We will
like a
puncture
ship's
you just
hull.
like a cannonball punctures the hull.
We're all
No.
good.
Oh, okay. We had two there. JJ, what was yours?
I said, and your mother has a face like a ship's hull.
Okay. And Sam, what was yours?
Oh god, what did I say?
Uh,
I think I said I will puncture you just like a cannonball punctures a ship's hull.
I'll say you guys in this instance, you guys can choose which one of you would speak in that, and like which one of you would say. So you can choose whichever one you want.
I think JJ's is good if you think the hull of a ship is unattractive, but I swear sometimes they're quite nice.
Well, maybe he's not trying to, it's not necessarily throwing shade.
In this context, I'm thinking like covered
I
in
thought the subtitle
barnacles
was
and
strange. Okay, yeah, but we'll take
JJ's. So, can you just repeat yours for us, JJ, one more time?
And your mother has a face like a ship's hull.
I'm not a rapper.
Not awful. We married are so clever. This hardly seems fair.
I think we will win this battle and take your share.
At this point, you hear the brother like give out a little giggle. That was a good one.
For a ship so gilded, it is a sore in my eye.
You gonna take that, Oramis?
In that case, I guess we'll just say bye-bye.
And they both let out an audible laugh, like.
I take it you're the captain.
Look at me. I'm the captain now.
Who was it before?
Finally, we hope you will leave of this place and never come back.
We hope you will leave this place and never come back. We will do just that, as it will spare us your flak.
Okay. Any other contenders for this last one, or no?
I got nothing.
Yeah.
Everything I can think of that rhymes with back is back.
Okay. I would like you guys. You come up with some pretty good ones there. I'd like you all to roll a just straight charisma or performance check, but with advantage. So I say you came up with some pretty good ones there.
That's we're on the boat.
All individually rolling
my
it.
boat dice.
Yeah. You can always roll with your dice if you'd rather. But just like all of you, just roll a performance check with advantage because you came up with some pretty good ones there.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay. 18, including my modifier. With advantage,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, with advantage.
Good.
So
Right, it's 11.
the two look at each other for a brief second. And they share glances over this ship, over the terrified crew, and over each of you. And
Good show. Excellent show. Oh, pity. Some of you would have made fine slaves, but this was entertaining to say the least. You may pass through our place and keep that stuff. It's an eyesore. Ugh. Nothing compared to the Hall of Pearls, is it, brother? No, nothing compares. Well, gentlemen, this has truly been entertaining. We hope you'll come by again for another challenge, maybe. But for now, we must think of some other flights to have with the next people who come by. Cheerio.
and Nautilon and his brother both. And as they do, they both just evaporate into water, land within the ocean. The whirlpools immediately subside, and the waves that were keeping up the front of your boat, like stopping it from going, just let up as well. And all of a sudden, your boat just like from being at a slight angle up, just crashes into the water. Like you can hear like the shouts of all of your crew as they're suddenly like thrown forward. Many of them you can hear like cannonballs drop and a couple of bits of the cargo. drop and knock away. A lot of the ship are looking about themselves like, did we seriously just... Did that happen? Or what? Vaishal and Ponsky. Ponsky's sitting there and just doing like a little... But Vaishal is very stoically sort of sitting there next to... Well, standing there, leaning against the thing next to Mazzy. And they're both just looking at you. And they both, like, uncannily at the same time, just give you, like, the slow clap. Just... Mazzy gives you guys a nod, heads back up, and mingles with the crew. Vaishal just sort of looks at each of you. Well, seems like you're all poets and you didn't even know it. That was...
Oh, you can fuck right off.
Weird.
Back into that cave whence you came.
Does that sort of thing happen a lot around here, or are we expecting more performances? Is it going to be a... I don't know, a dolphin that makes us dance?
Performance with us.
I'll take your word for it anyway. Well, I guess as we were. Vashal sort of like awkwardly steps off to the side, goes back to what he was doing, which is just generally looking out to the ocean. And you guys now have a large chest set in the middle of the deck, which a lot of the crew are starting to sort of like gather around and look like, a lot of them wondering if any of it's for them.
They can have a gold piece or two.
Yeah, it's called
if you'd be
wages,
willing.
isn't it?
How much gold is it?
If you'd be willing to give them a cut, that'd be fine. So in total, you find within this chest 2,000 gold pieces, and as I said, a dark cloak, a pristine leather whip, a brass stopwatch, and a tome in a leather cover with lots of sort of like arcane sigils over it.
What's 2,000 gold divided by 3?
Well, you could say
2,000
600
gold
each,
divided by
and then
3.
if you wanted to distribute the rest among your crew, or like 650 each would get, and then you'd have 50 to distribute amongst your crew.
How many crew do I have, Ben?
Look at your ship thing.
Okay.
Whatever your...
The Vengeance.
It should... Yeah, check the Vengeance stat block. It should say somewhere along the side. Although it's whatever that is -1, because one of your crew got killed last session.
I don't think it does say... Oh, crew.
Supposedly. Which one have you
30.
enjoyed this season?
It's Lukaku. Romelu.
Well, 29. So...
He probably ran him by himself.
So, yeah, you can give... I mean, yeah, if you want, you can give like a gold piece.
Yeah, let's do that.
Each.
650, and then I'll give each of them a gold piece. And then half a gold piece.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
alright
gold
with
piece
that.
and
That's like half a month to a month's wages for them. So, like anywhere else, that's pretty good. They'll very, very happily take it. Also, most of them are used to be paying in like silvers and coppers. So, like 1 gold piece, you find a lot of them just like pocketing it and
like
walking away pretty
£50
happy.
note.
Yeah,
Today is a
little
good
bit,
day.
yeah. But yeah, you guys have the rest of the money to go towards you, and some items you can check out if you want. If you have any way of identifying said items, otherwise you can just.
Felix, you can identify.
I can identify stuff. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm currently concentrating on control weather. I don't know if I can ritual cast and concentrate on that.
I would say no, because technically, while when you're casting a spell, like in the process of casting a spell, like for like that minute duration or whatever, you will be essentially concentrating on it. In my view, so
Yeah, that makes sense.
I guess you wouldn't be able to.
Okay.
Not right now, anyways.
I can look at them now and
Bit
just
later.
use all my first level spell slots.
So you can
Or I can look at them.
ritual cast it, can't you?
Yeah, but I can't ritual cast it now while
When are
concentrating
we
on control weather.
invading?
This is day 2, right? And we were thinking it was like day 3.
This is day 2. Around tomorrow either tomorrow evening or the next. Yeah, probably tomorrow afternoon/evening. You'll be making it to actually, because you set off in the morning, so it'll be around tomorrow morning, maybe around lunchtime. You'll be making it to.
As long as Felix has a chance to get those
It's a
first
long
levels
rest,
back,
basically.
then we
Yeah, I
can.
can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do them before we go to bed.
Okay.
Ben,
Yes.
you can only be attuned to 3 items.
Yes. Yes, you can.
I'm trying to work out what I'm attuned to. So I'm attuned to my staff.
You're attuned to your staff. You're attuned to your
and
clothes,
my
your
spell
robes.
Oh, my robes from Mazzarious
Yes.
are attunement.
Yes. You can still
Okay,
wear them,
so
but
I'd
they
have
don't
to-
offer the protection they do if you're not attuned to them. So if you don't attune to them,
Okay.
they just become regular robes.
Yeah, I've got an ocean blue shawl as well that adds +1 to my AC. I'm guessing that's just an additional.
Yeah,
item,
yeah, yeah.
not an
That's
attunement
not attunement. Yeah, make sure you
thing. Okay,
you
so
note
I'm
down.
I'm at my 3.
Yeah.
Okay, so okay. Right. Well, we'll see what they are, and I have to bump
Cool.
something off. But that's okay. Cool.
The rest of the day goes pretty peacefully. Around the sort of like 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening marker, when the sky is just beginning to sort of like dim a little bit, and you're just seeing the first hints of the sunset, you feel the concentration of your control weather dissipate, as it only lasts for 8 hours. But thankfully, by this point, you have gone way beyond wherever the storm was. The only difference that really comes in, it is still a clear sky, but it's like one of them clear winter skies where there's hardly any clouds, but this cold chill, this almost freezing chill just blows through you. Almost strange portent that you're getting closer and closer to the frozen city of Dawnport. But nothing else really happens for the rest of that day. Vaishal sort of takes a wander around the ship and starts just introducing himself to people. Ponsky, you can see he begins writing down a lot of notes and drawing out some different things of his own sort of inner mind workings. Mazzy's just there fletching his arrows and sharpening his sword and doing basic stuff like that, applying some oil to his armor and dusting that up a little bit. The rest of your crew are working by now pretty seamlessly as a cohesive unit on the sea. Is there anything else any of you guys would like to do during this time? You have literally an entire day to do whatever. So
Yeah, can I spend a bit of time in the library?
yeah, of course you can.
Trying to find out a bit more about potentially anything that I might find out about the patron or the former captains of the ship.
Okay, make an investigation check.
Okay. I'm really good at intelligence things.
What was your roll?
So
An 8.
you're spending a bit of time in these in there, and a lot of the information is there. It just takes you it takes you like 90% of the day to find a lot of this information, and the information that's there, like these were pirate captains that were logging this information, so a lot of it isn't extremely cohesive. There was a lot of them, they were too busy murdering and killing people and pillaging things and stealing things to keep up with the library. So a lot of it is a little bit out of place, but I'll say you at least find in this day, before you decide to just like give up and try again another day, you do find a tiny bit of information. So obviously there was Hallowhand. Before him there was an individual, the guy Hallowhand essentially got the ship from his whole thing of the guy who knocked Hallowhand off his ship, and left Hallowhand's whole revenge bonanza. Before him was a woman. She was, you learn a little bit, like you, she tried to be good. Like she set out to basically make this a like savior type ship, but over time became corrupted. You don't find out much beyond the fact that she was just corrupted, but it's almost like, the first couple of pages you read that she gave all of the money that she pillaged to like loads of charities, and she used to accept like all sorts of people on the ship, and it used to be a safe haven in wherever she docked and harbored. And then by the end of her rule, you learn that she used to hang people from the side of the ship. and something happened along the middle where things just went very, very south. In terms of your patron with an 8, no, you can't really find anything more there. Again, it's a lot of muddled information that you're having to piecemeal together. It's in a couple of different languages, some of which you don't know the different languages of the previous captains. Maybe some of your friends can help you with this endeavor in the future, but for now, for most of this day, you're struggling. Anyone else like to do anything on this day?
I imagine there's not really much I can get out to. I'm trying to concentrate on this. Probably can't work on any projects.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Sam, Gylndan, what would you like to do?
Yeah, I'm probably going to copy a spell out of Felix's book if that's okay with him.
Yeah, that's fine.
Always ask before you look under the wizard's book.
Of course. What spell you copying over?
I'm quite interested in synaptic static. I'm just going to work out how much that would cost.
Ooh, interesting.
5th level
Can't say
spell.
I know the spell off by
5th
heart.
level. I imagine it's quite a bit.
Was it? It's like 50 GP per level of the spell or something like that?
Yeah, something like
I
that.
think so, yeah. But is there a base cost?
Energy
the
to
base cost is
explode
just
there.
50 because it includes cantrips. Although I don't know if you can learn cantrips on spellbooks.
Oh, that's, to be fair, that's a pretty fucking cool spell.
It
Can't
is
believe I
a really
didn't
cool
know that.
spell.
That's, yeah, like a mind bomb. It's pretty cool. For your reference, Luke, it's basically choose a point within range. Everyone has to make an intelligence saving throw. Otherwise, they take 8d6 psychic damage and have to roll a d6 and subtract it from all of its attack rolls and ability checks and constitution saving throws made to maintain concentration. So, it's pretty good.
I think you'd fail a lot, Luke. Sorry, Oramis.
Yeah.
Now,
Sorry,
Oramis
When you
has,
find a wizard
Oramis
spell at
has
first level
proficiency.
high, you can add it to your spell book if it is a spell. Copying and ciphering, it takes
So
time.
I think it's going to cost me 250
It takes 2 hours
and take 10 hours.
and 50 gold per level of the spell.
Yeah, I trust you guys' judgment on it. Yeah, yeah, that seems fair enough. Yeah, 2 hours, 50 minutes, so that'll take you, about 10 hours and 250 gold pieces, which you can do pretty much, for the rest of the day. That would probably take you up until like the late evening, like that whole thing with the marriage happened around sort of 12 to sort of 1ish. So yeah, that would take you into the very late evening where you're just sort of shut in your room, writing down this spell. Nathan is sort of watching you for...
Nathan's bringing me cups of tea.
Yeah, he's bringing you cups of tea. He's asking a lot of questions about spell books and copying them into it because he's essentially learning how to be a wizard. And he's learning little bits and bobs here and there of what he can, basically what he can. But
you took Fireball, didn't you, Felix?
Yes, I took Fireball from you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, I've learned
nighttime
that.
comes around. Were you going to identify these items?
Yes, please, if I can.
Cool. So, first of all, we have the cloak, the dark cloak, which is, of course, a cloak of elven kind. You have, whilst wearing this cloak, you have advantage on all stealth checks, and any perception checks made to find you are with disadvantage. Pretty nifty thing. I don't know if it's attuned or not.
I don't think that is, if I remember rightly.
I don't think it is either, but I'm just... Oh, no, it requires attunement.
It's
Yeah.
the boots that don't,
So-
I think.
Yes.
I think there's cloak and boots, and the boots don't, or something like that.
Yeah, so while you wear this cloak with its hood up, is the point. Wisdom perception checks made to see you have disadvantage, and you have advantage on dexterity stealth checks made to hide. As the cloak's colour shifts to camouflage you, pulling up the hood up or down requires an action. So there's one nifty item. The second item is one which you can guess has come from me watching a lot of the Indiana Jones movies. Now they're on Disney Plus. The Raider's Whip. This pristine leather whip has a range of 20 feet and a +1 to attack and damage rolls made with it. It also deals an additional 1d4 thunder damage on a hit as the crack of the whip surrounds its foes. When you hit a creature or object with this whip, you can attempt to grapple or disarm the target as a bonus action. While you have a creature grappled using this whip, you can use your action to either pull the creature up to 20 feet towards you, or you can pull yourself up to 20 feet towards the creature. This ability also works as the target is an object that is being neither worn nor carried, and is of a weight you can feasibly carry or pull towards you. Basically, you can whip like a ledge and pull yourself up to it, or you can whip a bad guy and pull him 20 feet towards you, or you towards him.
I wonder who's taken that.
To disarm a target, the creature must be wielding an item, weapon, or shield with only one hand, and the item cannot have the heavy property. The creature must make a strength or dexterity saving throw, its choice. The saving throw equals 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your strength or dexterity modifier, your choice. Once disarmed, the item lands in a random unoccupied space within 5 feet of them. That's the Whip of the Raider. Next up, we have...
Is that an attuned item?
Let's see. That is not an attuned item.
Cool.
You can just use it.
Cool.
Next up, we have the Warrior's Watch, which is the stopwatch. Now, this is a rather interesting item as you look over it, Felix, because you're not really used to magic from a lot of different planes and things like that, but this one does seem to come from a different plane. As much as it is very gnomish in design, it seems to, you would learn at the very least, it comes from the plane of Mechanus. You can make a check to try and figure out what that is, but that's about as much as you would learn from that. Whilst it does require attunement, whilst attuned to this stopwatch, you have advantage on all initiative rolls, and it obviously works as a stopwatch does, so you always know the time. Whilst holding the stopwatch, with both hands free, you can use your bonus action to transform the stopwatch into a magical short sword and a matching magical dagger. Both these weapons have a +2 bonus to attack and damage rolls. The dagger is called Hour, whilst the short sword is called Minute. Whilst wielding Minute, you can cast a haste spell once per day. Whilst wielding Hour, you can cast a slow spell once per day. Nifty little thing.
Sorry, so the dagger was called
cool.
Hour, and the short sword was called Minute.
Yes, almost like, and they look, when you click them, they do look very much like they have these beautiful brass handles with this lovely sort of leather wrap, but the blades themselves are dark, almost black, light, and they're sort of shaped almost like the hands of a pristine clock.
Hour cast haste once per day, and Minute casts slow. Did you say once per day?
Hour casts slow.
Oh, sorry.
Minute casts haste.
Hour casts slow. Minute casts haste. And they're both once per day.
So, yes.
That's pretty cool.
And finally, the book. So you look at this book and you take it out of its sleeve, and the book is titled Hardwick Porter and the Philosopher's Tome, an arcane grimoire.
Oh, what the fuck?
This book does contain a certain amount of spells. The spells are Borrowed Knowledge, Tongues, and Legend Lore. If a wizard, it doesn't require attunement, if a wizard, any wizard, reads the grimoire over a period of a short rest and uses their arcane recovery feature, they can increase the number of spell slot levels they regain by 1. So if previously it was 5, you now get 6. If it was 6, you get 7. I don't know how much exactly it is. But that's about it.
Sorry, can you say that again? So, when a wizard uses their arcane recovery feature,
they can regain 1 more. They can increase the spell slot level they can regain by 1. So, I don't know what it is for wizards, but when you use
5.
arcane recovery, yeah. So you can get 6. Once per day when you finish a short rest, you can choose have a combined level that is equal to or less than half your wizard level rounded up. None of the slots can be 6th level or higher. So half of you guys' level would be 6. So you can actually get 7.
Oh, so it's not. It doesn't increase the cap on what you can recover. It increases the amount you can recover. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And any wizard can use it. So, but only one wizard can use it per short rest. So, for example, if you guys were, going through a long day, Gylndan's used lots of his spells. He can use his Arcane Recovery, and then he can give it to Felix to borrow later on in the day for their second short rest. Arcane Recovery. And you can both increase things that way.
But not in the same.
But not in the same short rest. No.
Right, and
you
that,
can't pass
and
the token around.
And the spells it had within it were. Can you repeat those, please?
Were Borrowed Knowledge, Tongues, and Legend Lore.
Borrowed Knowledge, Tongues, Legend Lore. Thank you.
Arcane Grimoire.
Mm-hmm.
Does that function as like a to use that instead of your spell?
You could nope, it doesn't need to. You could obviously use it. You probably have to rip a lot of the pages out. Like there is actually writing in this book. Something about this Hardwick Porter kid, and
it's like a side item.
Yeah, like a side item you could use and pick up.
Okay.
As far as you can read from the blurb, it's about some kid who went to school.
Sounds shit and maybe slightly transphobic. No,
maybe.
Right. And it lets you cast the spells 3 times, a certain amount of times
nope,
per day?
It just contains the spells
So
for potentially wizards to copy, or or just as spell scrolls. Like the pages can be torn out to be used as spell scrolls, if you wish. So if you guys.
But once you use the spell scroll, it's
finished. Once you use the spell scroll, it's finished. But if you copy it into your spell book,
copy it.
You obviously then have it.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. But that is them. And
as the more wizardy wizard, do you want to hang on to that one, Sam?
Well, I think we can both make use of it based on what Ben said. So I'll hang on to it, but I think we can certainly both use it.
If you hang on to it, and then if we need to, then because Felix is a bit more durable, so in a pinch I can.
What was the title of the book again?
Hardwick Porter and the Philosopher's Tome, an Arcane Grimoire.
Arcane Grimoire. Okay. Does anyone particularly want any of the other items? I've got my eye on the watch.
I think the watch lines up quite nicely to yourself.
With the old. Do you have to wield both of the hour and minute at the same time?
Nope. You can take one of them out if you wish, because it's attuned to you. You can basically decide when you click it as a bonus action whether you want to bring out the sword or the dagger or both.
Okay, so you could pull out one and then use it. I could use a different weapon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you could pull out one and still have your staff in your hand, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And what were the spells? Sorry, tongues.
The spells were Tongues, Borrowed Knowledge, and Legend Lore.
Okay.
Alright, hold on to the book. JJ, you're taking the watch. Luke, do you have a preference on an item?
Cloak, whip.
I do not have a preference on item.
I mean, to be honest, you could have both if you wanted to.
What
are you attuned to at the moment?
The cloak is a cloak of elven kind. It requires attunement. You have advantage on all stealth checks, and any checks made to find you, like perception checks made to find you, are with disadvantage.
I mean, as far as I am aware, I don't think I have any attuned items. Unless the shadow, either the shadow blade or the magic rock are the only things that I can think of.
No, neither of those are attuned. The Shadow Blade was, but then it became your warlock
Yes, that's
thing,
right.
your warlock weapon, so it no longer needed to be attuned. Otherwise, no, I don't think you actually have any. Yeah, no, I think you're right.
The whip wasn't an
The
attunement.
whip's not
was it?
attunement, no.
I mean, it's up to you, Luke, but I feel like you'll probably get more use out of both of those than. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think I'm in the discussion for either of these items. So.
I mean, I'm now up to 3 if I take items attuned. If I take the Warrior's Watch, so the cloak's not really for me. I could benefit from the whip, I think, because I can offhand. I can dual wield whip and something else, I believe.
I apologize, Luke. The Mocking Blade is attuned. That
I'm
you would
not
have to
currently
attune to.
attuned to it, though.
You are not currently attuned to it now.
No. Okay. I mean, I'm happy to take the cloak, and then I don't mind.
We can
what
hold
do with
fire on the whip because the whip doesn't need an attunement. So
Yeah, that's
Yep.
fair enough.
maybe Felix takes it.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
either or because it's quite good as
We'll
because it's 1d4 extra thunder, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's 2d4 plus strength or dex. You can get sneak attack from it, Luke. You can get sneak attack from whips.
Yeah.
Just as an extra thing.
If you ever been whipped by a kitchen towel, that is always sneaky.
That's true.
It is.
Yeah.
Right. And with that business out of the way, unless there is anything else you would like to do this evening, you can
No, I think that's
head to sleep.
It's definitely Felix's evening distributing.
Yeah, just going around distributing stuff. Yeah, fair enough.
Have you got
cool.
those descriptions written down that you can paste in the chat for us, Ben?
Yes, actually, yeah. That's yes.
Cool.
I will do just that. So
just so I can copy it onto my sheet rather than
I will
kind of making it up from what I've written down.
So that's the Arcane Grimoire. That is the Whip of the Raider. And that is the Warrior's Watch. And that, the bottom paragraph, is the Cloak of Elvenkind.
Nice.
Cool. With that process sorted, you all have a fairly quiet evening, just sort of milling about. Vaishal does, at one point, come to... I think he probably come to Felix. He spoke to Felix briefly before. And he comes to you, Felix, and he knocks on your door later in the evening, probably just as you're finished identifying items. And he sort of peers his head and he says, "I'm sorry if I'm disturbing." And he very sort of awkwardly comes in and shuts the door, does try and peer through the sort of slight crack in the door, almost as if he's being watched. And he comes to you and he's like, "Is this ship? Is there anything weird about this ship and the captain to you? I've just got this dark feeling. There's
This ship used to have
I have certain magical
dark
abilities.
past. Once belonged. I don't know whether you've heard the name Hallowhand. I'm not entirely familiar with the details myself. I ended up picking up with Oramis and Mazzarious a little bit in the past. Hallowhand was a wizard that was causing a lot of trouble for a lot of people on the Shattered Coast. Had apparently been causing some trouble for quite some time. I can't remember. I mean, Felix would remember. I can't exactly remember off the top of my head. It was a while ago what Hallowhand was up to.
Hallowhand was apparently in league with this Tiamat. He was basically gathering Sahwajin to help this Tiamat raid the coast and use a very ancient artifact to seal portals inside, and then he would gift this to Tiamat to try and increase her power. And you guys managed to stop him doing that by going after him.
Okay. Yeah, I will recount a little bit of that. And just like, again, I'm not really too familiar with the details. I've got a friend, Gylndan, who is not Gylndan, sorry, Griffin, who is very much on a mission.
Make me an insight check.
An insight check, okay.
Okay, 23. Upon the mention of Tiamat, suddenly his facial expression turns particularly sour. You've met this guy, and he's not a very good liar, so his facial expression turning is, the fact that you caught it is pretty easy, but he just sort of looks at it. I see. Okay, so just as long as it's okay. I have certain magical abilities, praying to gods and things, and, well, I've just got a really bad feeling about this whole
the ship is kind of creepy. Like, it definitely looks way different than it did, 2 weeks ago, so there's some sort of magic going on that I really want to figure out. But for the time being, I haven't had a lot of time to look into it. So yeah, there's definitely something to do with Oramis winning the ship, I think, from its previous captain. Oramis seems alright. Morally grey in some areas, but I think generally solid dude. Certainly better than the last captain.
Generous.
It's a dark grey at that.
Yeah, God.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, I feel a lot better now. I'll be on the deck. Thank you, Felix. And he gives you a brief, kind of awkward bow and leaves the room. Gylndan, you are sitting in your room preparing for your night's rest when you hear a voice, magically, in the back of your mind. A voice you recognize from a wizard only a couple of days ago. And the voice says, "So, you're Moraine's apprentice. I'm impressed. She trained you well, but you have much to learn. There is much I could teach you, Azuth's chosen." This is the spell This is a sending spell. You have 25 words to respond, and you do recognize it is from Nasir, the divination wizard you saw but days ago.
Oh, 25 words.
I can give you a minute if you want to think on it.
That's all right. I have always put my faith in Moraine's opinion of people. She has never been wrong. So leave me alone, or you are finished.
He does.
That's a good chat line, Luke.
He does. He does respond, but with only one word. Disappointing. You can reply to the word disappointing if you'd like, with 25 words or less.
Disappointing. I'll just say see you soon.
And finally, Oramis.
Oh no, please.
You take your watch. You get the ship in order. Frank is taking the late watch tonight, and he pats you on the shoulder. He's been watching you today, and you get the sense that he's clearly seen that you're maybe under a little distress, and sort of looks you. Get a good sleep, Captain. Pats you on the shoulder, gets you back in your thing. Promise not to burn down the ship. But you can hear just sort of like in his pocket the sort of shaking of liquid. It seems he might be bringing out some kind of liquid, most probably booze, onto the deck for some of the night watch to potentially partake in. If you want to stop that, you obviously can. But either way, you eventually head to the captain's quarters, bed down, and obviously you don't necessarily fall to sleep, but you just experience these premonitions, and you sort of almost shut your eyes. Instinctually, you spent all of your years falling to sleep, so you shut your eyes, and almost immediately as you do, you just feel something pull at your foot, and suddenly you're yanked off of your bed and dragged through the ship. Once again, Halahand. And he's just dragging you with his one hand. He just, all right, Oramis, let's try this one more fucking time. And he drags you out onto the deck of the ship. Now, once again, the weather, this night is clear skies, cold chill in the air, but clear, beautiful, twinkling stars everywhere. Now it is a racking storm. And as he drags you out into the middle of the ship, he almost like pulls you out right into the deck where rain is battering down. There's this like crack of thunder off in the distance. Waves are crashing against the side of the ship, spraying you, Halahand, and the entire council of captains stood there, all dead, with swords through their stomachs, daggers in their back, throats slit, all watching you as you're dragged into this procession, and they'll almost part for you. Halahand throws you down onto the front, but there is no gallows this time. No, instead Halahand walks to the edge of the ship, where there is a plank set out on one side. But there is a plank on the other side, with a figure already stood by it, an armoured figure, long blonde hair, quiver on his back and bow. He looks back towards you. You obviously recognise it is Mazzy.
Oh, if it's Mazzy, let him jump.
Oh, I'm glad you thought about it.
I'm joking.
But Halahand proceeds to his station and doesn't say a word. Instead, stepping towards you, away from the rest of the council, stood almost at the very front of the ship, is a figure you recognize. A tall, fairly slender man with a long, scraggly beard, wrinkles over his face, a large dagger in his back, like a big cleaver type thing in his back, wearing not the fanciest clothes you would expect a captain to wear, almost the clothes of a merchant or a fairly sort of poor individual. But you recognize this person as Sigurd, the very first captain of this cursed ship. He steps to you and says, Oramis, time to choose once again. Don't worry, you're not the only one to go through this ritual, but I would really like for you not to be the first one to fail it. Just remember, really quickly, before you decide. And he comes up right into your ear and whispers, your friends are here with you maybe 50, 60 years. We are with you until this earth and all the earths are but dust. So, choose wisely. And he thrusts into your hands a crossbow, a hand crossbow. Dark wood, darker metal, but with no string. Instead, on the side are arcane runes, and you can feel the eldritch energy pulsing through it. And you get the sense that this works alongside your eldritch blast, enhances it, empowers it in a way. So the choice is yours. Who do you shoot?
There's someone else on the plank.
There is. There's Halahand on one, Mazzy on the other.
Okay.
Can I?
Same choice as before.
So I'm going to look at this crossbow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say to him, like, I made my choice. I thought that was clear. Because of my decision, I'll never see my love again. Why must I choose a second time?
You choose a second time, Oramis, because we want to know your... well... loyal. We want to know that if it came down to it, you would choose this crew over anything and anyone. This crew around you here, these souls, your own soul, and these collections of wood and iron. It is what keeps your soul. It's what keeps all of us. Many of these captains before you here have got the position and grown bored of it. Let the ship rot and waste. Not fully utilized its potential. But potential is what we are. If our souls are stuck on this earth for eternity, we want to make sure the one captaining the ship is doing something at least worthy of them. So, Oramis, do you choose us or them?
He looks towards Mazzy.
If it came down to it, would you abandon all cause for us, for this ship, for the men and women you see around you here now, so that we may live on, so this ship may live on? Choose.
Can I point the crossbow at Hallowhand?
Yeah.
I'm not firing. I just want to see if anyone flinches. If anything.
Yeah. So almost like half the ship on your right side just begins cheering.
Like, kill him, he murdered this person, murder that person, he was a coward, he'd lost you killed him before, you can kill him now.
Was the people on your left side?
Like, no, he's your brother, he's your new family. What are you doing, Oramis?
And Sigurd almost sort of just gives a... You've got a pretty high passive perception. You can see Sigurd almost gives a brief just smirk.
It seems like I have more power in this than you're letting on. Without me, if you kill me, what becomes the ship? What becomes of all of you?
Sigurd raises his hand, and the entire crew stops.
How have you felt today, Oramis? Powerful? If it weren't for that silver tongue of yours, those creatures would have destroyed you. I am sure of it. Trust me. Trust us. You want the power. You think you have it. But we give it to you. We know your type. You're no different to all the men that stand behind you. The only difference is time. Choose.
Guessing I don't have any weapons on me other than this crossbow.
No.
Damn. Okay. You don't know me like you think you do. I'm not the same as you. I'm doing this for the good of Ambyr and for the good of all people. I took the power to defeat Tiamat. nothing more. And then I'm going to level the crossbow at Mazzy and say, Mazzy, forgive me. For Amber.
You level the crossbow, and there's not even like a trigger on this thing. It's more of just, you just channel this energy through, and these bolts of eldritch energy just fly through, and they don't, like, they just like slam into Mazzy's back, and he just Sigurd smiles. Just...
Finally. Now you understand. Hallowhand, get off that fucking plank. You look like an idiot.
The whole council laughs behind him.
Well done, Oramis. It seems you do have some priorities in order after all. And I don't care what you say, really. Time will tell as to who you really are. But speaking of time telling things, we've had a plan, some ruminations we think you could consider. Many of these captains have tried to take the post of Admiral of the Shattered Coast, but the Shattered Coast is it's a fickle thing. Alliances forge and wane so easily. But you, unlike most of these idiots did at the time, have fame. And you have the one thing that protects the current Admiral. Now, we've discussed this plan long and hard, and just hear me out for a minute. You're going to take on a dragon. Dragons have hoards. Gold. We like gold. You like gold. Everybody likes gold. And gold is what you will need to keep the Shattered Coast in check. Now, didn't the Admiral say that he couldn't find anyone to come help you, any warriors available to him at the minute?
Yeah.
And didn't he also say his other form of protection was his, how to put it, lapdog, his servant? And isn't he sleeping on the ship right at the moment? Now, I'm not saying you have to go and kill him right now, but if he were to have an accident and not make it back to protect the Admiral before you can take his position, I'm thinking only of you, Captain.
You've got to win it in a fair election. Don't listen to these people.
Anyway, good night, Oramis. Good day. Have a good day tomorrow. Try not to get eaten by a dragon.
he waves his hand, he turns, and with the there's suddenly this bright flash of light, and you're awake. Luke, can you roll me a hit dice, please?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. Where is it? Oh, there we go. Ooh.
Just below
9
points, yeah.
Not bad. Whoever's controlling Mazzy, can you note down what his current max HP is? Just somewhere else on his sheet, and reduce his maximum HP by 9.
Yeah, I got it.
Oh no!
Luke?
Luke, can I just say, if you'd shot me, I'd have been so fucked off at you.
Luke?
Yeah.
Increase your maximum HP by 9.
I'm gonna go around shooting all of you. Stack my HP right up.
I'm so glad we're not
No,
close
I'm
friends
okay.
yet.
How did your rogue get 400 HP?
Oh shit.
And as you wake up, it is sunrise. And you look outside, you look out on the deck, and small snowflakes are falling. Mason, your navigator, turns towards you and says, Captain, we're coming around on the Dawn Bay. We're getting close. Might be time to start thinking of a plan. For reference, that puts you guys around here. Like where this ship is.
Okay.
And with that, I think we'll take a quick 5-minute break.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sure.
can we see the bell tower?
No. Well, you guys are nowhere near that at the minute, but you are certainly